One. So let's solve Max exam, physics of undergrad 2013. Okay, so question 1.2, a question about universal gravitation. So Kepler's third law says that 2t, the period squared, is equal to a constant multiplied by a cubed, all being a the radius, okay, holds in the revolutions of planets in the solar system, where t is the revolution period, a is the semi-major axis of the elliptic orbit, and k is a constant of proportionality. Choose the appropriate formula for k from below. The gravitation constant is g, and the mass of the sun is m. So look, uh, when we are talking about periods, when it's about periods, you need to remember about the circular motion, okay, because it's much easier. This is how we always do it. So number one, you need to remember that the normal velocity is equal to the angular velocity multiplied by r, okay. So this is the first thing. The second thing is that we are going to use the centripetal force. When planets are orbiting, what you have is the gravitational force. So G big M multiplied by small m divided by r squared, right? The formula for the gravitational force. So this must be equal to what? This must be equal to the centripetal force, right? Because they are making loops, right? So the centripetal force is mv squared divided by r. Okay, so this is the formula for the centripetal force. Now m will cancel with this m, this squared will cancel with this part of r, and v squared, now note, v is this part over here, okay, is w, the angular, multiplied by the radius, okay. So what we'll end up having is that gm divided by r is equal to, now, w squared multiplied by r squared, okay. Remember this r, we cut it with this part. So w squared, well, this part over here is multiplying, we'll go to the other side dividing. So g big M divided by r cubed. This is good, we are in the right direction. Why? Because in the formula he's given us there is the radius cubed, right? So what did we find? Remember, we found that w squared is equal to g m divided by r cubed. This is what we found over here, okay. So here is cubed, okay. So let's continue over here solving. So what you need to remember also is that omega, the angular velocity, is equal to 2 pi divided by the time, right? The period. So omega, the omega is the velocity for it to make a full loop. So a full loop is 2 pi, and which is the loop, divided by the time that it takes. So from here we are going to find the period, right? So you need to remember that your goal is this part over here, okay. So this is what we are trying to do. So 2 pi divided by t squared is equal to gm divided by r cubed. So let's take a new page over here. So remember what we had. We had over here that 2 pi squared, well, I'm going to take the t squared over there, and 2 pi squared will stay here, okay. So this, I'm just going to manipulate this part over here in the new page. Here, So the period squared is equal to 2 pi squared multiplied by r cubed divided by gm. I just took this part over here. Okay, just took this part over here. I sent this part to the other side and this part here. Okay, so let's end it. And the question finishing. So the period squared. Now, the thing that he asked us was the period squared divided by the radius cubed, right? So what he asked us was, now t squared divided by r cubed. Okay, so this part squared is equal to 4p squared, right, divided by gm. So this part over here is the part of the constant of k. Okay, so now this is our answer. Let's just find where it is over here. H, 4p squared divided by g of m. Okay, so just one thing, he is using over here a as only the radius. Okay, so not you can use it as it was circular. You don't need to consider it more complicated if it was as if it was an elliptic. Okay, so you could do this. Okay, see ya.